Morning, grade 4. Going to read you a little Wolf Hollow this morning. Chapter 13. It wasn't easy to get back to sleep that night. I'd been over to Andy's farm with my father many times to trade produce for dairy, apples for cheese, beans for butter, so I couldn't help but picture it now, dark and quiet. And then the constable knocking at the door, the porch light coming on, Andy's father appearing, rumpled with sleep, rousing Andy to come down for questions. I hoped Andy knew where Betty was. Maybe she had realized that all her lies were about to catch up with her and she ran away. Or maybe she'd gone out exploring, though probably not in the rain, probably not without Andy. I couldn't imagine that Toby had anything to do with it. In a way, I wished he was indeed far from here by now. But the bigger part of me hoped that he would turn up as always. He left the camera hanging from the hook in his shack. I would have believed him gone. Toby would not have taken our camera, though it was really his too. When I finally wore myself out with thinking, I dreamed about Betty, but nothing clear or memorable, just a murky swirl that faded away as soon as I woke. It wasn't till morning, too dark for morning, but something more, the feel of night. Still, I could sense movement below. This time, when I went downstairs, I found my parents were up and dressed, breakfast on the table, though it was just 4 o'clock. Early even for farmers at this time of year. Constable Aleska sat at the table eating eggs and sausage. "Did you find her?" I asked from the doorway, blinking in the light. "Annabelle, what are you doing up?" my mother said. "It's still night. Go back to bed." "I'm all slept out," I said. "Did Betty come home, Constable?" "No, I'm afraid not," he said. "We'll start a search at first light. Her grandpa and some neighbors have already been out there, but they won't find anything in the dark. The rest of us will head out soon, fresh and dry, and we'll find her if she's to be found." He didn't look fresh and dry to me. I suspected he'd been up all night. "What did Andy say?" "Your parents and I were just getting into that," the constable said. "He talked while he ate, obviously famished. Andy's a little too big for his britches, so I expected some lip. But he was shook up pretty good. He told me that he and Betty had planned to skip school and spend the day together, tramping around the farms and, as he put it, having a lark." The constable shook his head. The boy was mostly calf when he talked about Betty. All the rough gone out of him. He said they were supposed to meet at the Turtlestone first thing yesterday morning, but the last minute his pa made him stay at home and fix a fence. By the time he got to the stone, she was gone. He went looking for her, wound up at school, found out she hadn't shown up. So he went to the Glengarrys. Nobody was there. He figured they'd taken Betty someplace, so he went home. "Did you ask him about the belfry and all that?" I said. "Not now, Annabelle," said Mother. "There'll be time for that business when she's found." Which made sense, I suppose. But I didn't think I'd see this as separate strands. It was, to my thinking, a rope, any part of which was twined with every other part. But I held my peace. My mother warmed the constable's coffee, and the three of them talked about the search while I helped myself to breakfast, and I listened. And then Aunt Lily appeared in the doorway. She'd taken the rollers out of her hair, and it fell in anemic curls around her shoulders. She was still in her robe and slippers, traces of the night cream under her eye. "Did you find him?" she said. "Who?" we said. "Toby," she snapped. "I'm not looking for Toby," said the constable. "I thought you meant Andy." "Who isn't lost and doesn't need finding," she said. She poured herself a cup of coffee and sat at the table. "It's Toby you ought to be looking for, before he snatches another young girl." And we'll leave it at that for today, and I hope you're all doing well and have a great day. Bye for now.